Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Ink and Pen Adventures. I just want to once again give a shout out to Carolee Garrison for my intro music, my custom podcast song that she created for me, and the introduction that she also did. So, Carolee, thank you so much. If you are a podcaster and are looking for a custom song to use that really captures the essence of your podcast and your message, please contact her. She has a podcast called Podcast Like a Mother and Seeking Sunshine on Apple and Spotify. And she also is available, I believe, if you look up Carolee Garrison or Seeking Sunshine on social media, you will find her. Check her out. She's amazing. And thank you, Carolee. I promised a follow-up to the last episode of preparing for a trip with what to do when you get home from a trip. There's a number of things you can do. These are mostly suggestions, and it will very much depend how long you've been away, whether you traveled by yourself or with your housemates, and where you went, essentially. If it was a quick trip to San Francisco, you may not need to do any of these things. If it was a 2.5-week trip to Europe, you probably will definitely have to do some of these things. So let's get started. First, unpack strategically. This is not something I'm great at, but my husband encourages me on a regular basis because he wants to get the laundry done. And I think it's brilliant. We do it, we unpack, we get the laundry done, and we're done. Taken care of, suitcases put away. I got home from a trip on Sunday. I haven't unpacked my suitcase yet. When I say strategically, toiletries, any work-related items, anything that's perishable, anything that's a gift, get those things out of your suitcase, even if you don't unpack your clothes yet. I unpacked my toiletries and my makeup and my charger, because I wasn't flying, my charger for my computer. And then the rest are all still sitting in my suitcase, quite literally. Then sort your dirty laundry. Do a load of laundry if you can. If you can't, if you're home late, at least get it into the laundry basket and ready to go for the next time you're ready to do laundry. You will thank yourself when you don't have to scramble in 3 days for socks. The next thing, when you come home, and this is more if you've been gone and no one has been house sitting because you don't have pets or plants to take care of, or for whatever reason, assess your food situation. Make a plan so that you're not just automatically jumping into buying takeout food. The night you get home, absolutely, it's a great idea. It's a good night for pizza, right? But make a plan for those meals, considering doing a grocery run or having grocery delivered, so that you can quickly get back into your home routine without having that disrupt you too much. The next thing is if you have pets, check your pets. Get your pets if you have to go pick them up from the boarding place that they're at or the friend's house. Double check to make sure that they look well fed, well taken care of, their litter boxes are clean, or the poop's been picked up from the backyard or whatever, depending on what kind of animal you have, or their cages, if you have birds or rodents. Spend some time with them. Spend some time with your pets when you get home. They will have missed you, probably more than you can actually imagine. We do have a child living with us who takes care of the pets when we are gone. It's pretty funny to hear stories of how they missed us while we were gone. And I was gone this weekend, but my husband was here, and the cat that often sleeps at my feet slept in the same spot even though I wasn't there. So it's pretty cute. But make sure they have food, make sure they have water, been well taken care of. Same thing for your plants. Take a quick look. The next thing is mails and emails. Get your mail from your mailbox or check the stack if someone's been doing that for you. Sort through things. Those piles, when left after coming home from a trip, can end up being pretty daunting if you've been gone for a couple of weeks. So do it quickly, do it soon, so you don't have to keep looking at it. I don't worry so much about emails because we all often have phones or devices where we can check our emails. But if you don't, and you want to take a few minutes there to go through the emails and sort stuff out, when you get home is a good time to do that. Restock any essentials. So maybe you used up your toothpaste or your shampoo or conditioner if you travel with those items. Your shaver is not charged. Your toothbrush needs a new toothbrush head. It's time to maybe go through and replace those things. Often when we travel, we realize what kinds of things we've used up while we're traveling. And I often will try to take stuff that I'm not going to have to bring home, like a half bottle of, or half tube of toothpaste that I know we're going to use while we're gone. Makeup pencil that is running down to the end, but I think I'm going to make it through the trip. I don't always bring a backup because if most places I go, I can get something if I need it. But try to think about those essentials that you used up or that came close to being used up that you might need to replace. If you have to go back to work and you have the luxury to take a day before you do that, so say you come home on a Tuesday and you can take Wednesday off, I highly recommend it, especially if you've changed time zones or climates. Going back into work after a lengthy vacation, and by lengthy I mean more than a couple of days, can be a little abrupt. Not a bad thing necessarily, but can be a little abrupt, especially if you're dealing with a 3 to 6 hour, maybe even a 9-hour time change. Your circadian rhythms are off. Your food and water rhythms are off. Your exercise patterns may be off because you were exercising, but you were doing it very differently than you do at home. Give yourself a chance to ease back in to those routines. Maybe that's work. Maybe that's home life. Maybe that's volunteering, or I do theater. Maybe that's easing back into theater as well. Those things can be exhausting when you're under-resourced. Relax and unwind the day you get home, if you can. Watch a movie, read a book, have a cup of tea, have a nice comforting dinner or lunch or breakfast, depending on what time of day it is. Take a rest, but don't throw off your cycles. If you get home and you're really, really tired and it's 6 o'clock at night and you're going to go to bed at 10 so you can get back on your normal schedule, try not to take a nap. Doesn't mean you won't accidentally fall asleep, but try not to take a nap. That can throw off those schedules even more so than you expect. Reconnect with your loved ones. Let them know you're home safe. Let them know you had a great time. Maybe share a couple of photos with them. Don't inundate them. But do share some photos of your time together, especially if they're photos of you and your traveling companions. While the locations are amazing, I want to see you in that location. That's how I am. I like to show and share selfies instead, because it shows me in the location having a good time, which often makes, family and friends feel good about that. So, but share your experiences, catch up, talk about where you're going to go next, things like that. And anything that you may have missed while you were away. Another thing is, I kind of already mentioned this, but settle back into that routine gradually. Give yourself time. Going on vacation is a disruptor, and a good one. It's a good disruptor in our lives. It tends to reset some things. It tends to make you think and look differently at the world. Maybe you've gone to another location in your state, in your country, in the world, and you learned a few things, both about yourself and about the world around you. Take a moment to let that sit before overwhelming yourselves of the tasks coming back. Now, sometimes I know you can't avoid it. Sometimes you got to jump right back in because it's tax season, or you have to get back in because you got delayed and you're 2 days later than you wanted to be, and school starts in 2 days, right? We can't avoid that, but try to keep it as balanced as you can. Tidy up, put things away. We do this before we go, and I actually I failed to mention that on the previous one, which was before we leave for a trip, whether there's someone staying in our house or not, we like to have the kitchen cleaned, the trash taken out, sometimes the carpets vacuumed, the food and the water for the cats, if we have a sitter, or we don't tend to take them anywhere, so we almost always have a pet sitter. But we like to have the house clean before we go, and we don't come home to a mess, right? We don't rely on the person taking care of the pets to do that stuff for us. It's our house. We do it. Sometimes they do. And so that way when we come home, the house is nice and tidy, and then we can make our mess and clean it up pretty easily. But if we're still dealing with stuff from before we left, like mail, I'm not talking dishes because those almost always get done, but mail or trash or anything like that, you can end up with some pretty funny things like, oh, that trash smells pretty bad because I forgot to take it out 3 days ago, and I should have. So when you get home, put all that back in order as well. When you're done packing, put your suitcases away, put your packing cubes away, or your toiletry things, put them away, make them all the way away. Even if you have a trip coming up within a month, it's too long to leave that stuff sitting out. I did that. It drives me crazy, so I don't recommend it. Reflect on your trip. And this is where travel journaling comes in. So you're thinking, oh, this is about travel journaling. Where's she talking about that? Right now, reflect on your trip. Take a few moments to think about what was your favorite thing. What did you love the most about it? For example, when we went to Vancouver, there were a lot of things, but I think my favoriteest thing was having English breakfast across the street from our hotel and having the best London fog latte I've ever had. That might have been my favorite moment. But we took a cruise from Vancouver to San Diego. That was awesome. There were lots of moments on that trip that were awesome. There was the fact that we were so close to Canada Place, we just had to walk. We didn't have to take a taxi or anything to get to the terminal. Awesome. But the London fog latte and the English breakfast right across the street from our hotel may have been my favorite moment. So I want to journal that. I take a few photos. I print them out on my photo printer. I put them into a page within the journal that I'm using for travel. And then I talk about it. And my husband and I talk about what were our favorite things. We do also talk about what we don't need to do again, what we don't want to do again, and what may have gone less right than we'd like. For example, my trip to Palm Springs was great. There are two things that made me crazy, and there's not a lot I could do about them, so I simply talk about them and get over it. The thermostat didn't work very well. The room stayed at a nice 75 degrees, which was too warm for me, and the way it was situated, I didn't have an outside window or anything. I was in interior room, and so I had to keep the fan on a fairly high speed to keep the room from getting too warm and stuffy. And second, the Wi-Fi was terrible. Not a lot I can actually do about that, but I can know that I'm not going to rely on it going forward because I forget. We've been to some places where the Wi-Fi is grand and other places where it really isn't worth if you have to pay money for it. I still couldn't get it to work. We have visited Pearl Harbor, I think 5 times. And unless the persons that we are traveling with, people we are traveling with want to see it, it's not something we need to do again. We've done it. We've done all 3 of them, the Beaufort and the Missouri and the Arizona. We've done the museum. So we've done it. But if somebody wants to go, of course we'll go. But however, for he and I, we've decided that was something we've done and we don't need to do again. Once you've seen the Grand Canyon, do you need to see it again? Some people, yes. Some people, no. So reflect, review, so that way when you do take your next trip to that location, as there are some locations we go back to again and again, what is it that you're going to want to do that time? Are you going to want to do something different? Are you going to want to go to the same place at the Grand Canyon? Or do you maybe want to stay on the other side this time? Or when you go to Yellowstone, are you going to stay near the Tetons or on the other side, right? You're going to fly into, how are you going to get there? Is it a road trip? So take those moments. And then if you brought the journal with you and you've been keeping up with it, that's fantastic. Review it. Share it. Talk about it. Revel in the adventures you had. It's so exciting to travel, even if it's just for business. You know, the last time I went to Palm Springs before this trip was for business. And it was a good long time ago. And I realized I had no idea what Palm Springs was about because we never left the convention center. We never did. We didn't explore the town. We didn't go out to dinner. Everything was there. I don't recommend that if you can avoid it. Try to get out at least once into the city and see what that city has to offer. And by reflecting on what you did, I would have noted that I didn't like the fact that I didn't see the city that time. So the next time I go, I want to see the city. And we did. We drove up and down. We went to a number of places. It was great. So the next time I go, I'm also going to reflect on what it is I'd like to do again or do more of. Or, oh, I saw this place and I'd really like to go there. If you didn't do extensive journaling while you were traveling, but you kept notes or placeholders, now's the time to fill it all in before it's too far away. I don't know about you, but the mind fog, the brain fog that came from the years 2020 to 2023 is real. It is. And if you had COVID or the flu or pneumonia or anything in there that caused your brain to go, what? What is going on? And feel a little bit less clear, You're probably with me on this. I can't remember sometimes what I did last week, let alone what I did 2 months ago in Hawaii. So I want to write it down. I want to note it. I want to flip through my pictures and pull the ones that inspire me and maybe print them out 3x3 on an 8.5x11 and put them in a book somewhere. Because while digital is fantastic, it is fantastic sharing it to social media, sharing it on websites, sharing it on chat groups and Discord servers. Wonderful. Do that. Absolutely do that. But also, every once in a while, we need a little analog remembrance. And that's a notebook or a journal. And they don't have to be fancy. You can pick one up from Target. You can buy an expensive one from Archer and Olive. You can do what I do with the Wanderlust Passport or the Traveler's Notebook. But take a few minutes to reflect, review, and note it down. What you did, what you enjoyed, those moments, especially if you were traveling with people, capture those. Photos of your selfies and your group photos at the dinner table that everybody takes my friend is traveling right now to the Philippines, and I love seeing her family as she takes all these photos with the family she hasn't seen in years at the dinner table. Because in most places, people eat dinner. It's a pretty great place to take photos, but also the cool places you've seen. So take a few moments at that point right there. Reflect upon your trip and then plan the next one. What's going to come up next? Maybe it's in a year. Maybe it's in 5 years. Maybe you want to take a trip around the world and it's going to take you 10 years to prepare and save. Absolutely. Maybe you simply want to go to Muir Woods for a day. I'm looking at a box right now that we got from Muir Woods. It makes me think of that. I really enjoy just a quick little morning trip over to Muir Woods. Takes about 5 hours. Maybe 6 hours total to get there, do the trip, and come back. And it's life-changing because it's forests and fresh air and water. There's a creek running through it. Then, but maybe it's a bigger trip to Disneyland or a bigger trip than that to Europe again, or maybe a river cruise or a cruise. We're planning a cruise for August of 25. So reflecting on the current trip you just took, even if it was a small one, can inspire you to plan more and take more trips and do more things. So take a few moments, pull out a notebook, pull up a Trello list or a Notion or what are the other ones that I can think of off the top of my head? The boards, the productivity boards or things like that where you can plan itineraries and everything. Or maybe just get out there on kayak and see what's being offered. Check the next Southwest sale. Or maybe you want to do an Amtrak trip across the country, which I really do. And I actually really want to do the Canadian transcontinental train tour just because it looks amazing. But there's a lot of places the trains go here in the U.S. that you could take a trip, and maybe that is your trip. You spend a couple of days in a location, you get back on the train, you go another day, and you spend another couple days in that location, and then you turn around and come back. So take some time. Take a look at what you've got going on. Maybe you have a wedding or a graduation or a baby. Maybe a new baby has come into your life or a new event is happening somewhere you'd like to go. Take a look. Make a plan. We all have our own way of traveling. We all have our own way of capturing our memories. And many of us have a desire to see the larger world. And if you have a desire to see your own close by world closer, excellent. It all counts. Because I do know some people who are not fans of traveling. They really would rather not. But they do explore our community. And that's traveling to me. So those adventures are out there. They await you. I want to hear about them. I really do. So leave me some comments as to where you've been. How long did it take you to unpack? There's the question. How long did it take you to unpack? Tell me that. Because it just delights me that sometimes I am the worst. My husband will tell you that. And I know better. I absolutely know better. But Sunday night when I got home, it was late-ish. And I just haven't done it because I go to bed too late. I have to get up, go to work. I'm already running. If I do that, I'm going to run late. And I don't want to do that. I'll do it later. So what is the longest you've gone without unpacking? I honestly think mine has been a week. So I'm going to do it today. She says. It's a Thursday. We're going to try. and see what happens. You may not be hearing this until Monday, so know that hopefully by then I'll be unpacked. And if you comment and ask me a question, I will tell you. For that, you can check me out on Instagram. I don't post a great amount, but I do share and do things like that there. Ink and Pen Adventures, and also inkandpen.co is our website, and you can usually get everything you need there. Plus, if you are interested in sharing and having a chat and conversation with me about how you prepare for and debrief a trip, I would love to hear from you. You can contact us on inkandpen.co and on social media. So please do. We'd love to have you. But for now, it is a bon voyage, and I wish you an excellent day. Take care, folks.